Monday the 12th of June in Usk, and people watching on the webcasting, welcome too. Thank you very much for coming in, and any members of the public that also might be able to lack of something to do this afternoon might be watching too, welcome. Thank you. If we can move on then to item 2 on the agenda, the appointment of vice chair. May I be so bold as to suggest to nominate Peter Strong, Councillor Peter Strong, please?
Second that.
Can I have a second? Thank you. Peter, welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Are there any apologies for absence, please, John?
No.
And declarations of interest as and when? Yeah. Thank you very much. To confirm minutes of the previous meeting, which I'm sure you've all read, those that are on the committee before, can I suggest that they're a good record of the meeting, please?
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel.
Sorry, can I suggest an amendment, Chair?
Dan, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, the date on it, where it says 24, it should be 26.
Oh,
Louise is very good at spotting.
right. Okay. Well done, Louise. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Otherwise, this is a correct record of the meeting, please. Is it?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I have a proposer and a seconder. Okay,
second.
thanks, John. Seconder. Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. Right, members, if we can please move on to item 6 on the agenda, which I think is going to be taken by John, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. You'll all be aware that on the hub and on the intranet, there's a dedicated members area where we put lots of guidance, where we put all the induction training videos and such like, or the whole area of reference materials for members to go and dive into. But to be fair, as time moves on, software changes, platform changes, the way we access information changes. So we've been exploring ways that we can utilize Teams a bit more to help you as members in your roles. So to that end, we've devised a specific Teams channel for all councillors, which will start to roll out fairly soon. And I thought it'd be good to just give all members an overview, probably give members of this committee a couple of weeks access to it to give us any feedback on what you want to see, any changes you want to make before we roll out to all councillors, and then just get any general feedback on whether it's a good thing and how the things we can do to improve it. So if I just share my screen with everybody. And it should come up. There we go. I have to bear in mind that screen's a bit slower than mine. So if you want me to slow down or go over anything, just let me know. So within Teams, we all use the chat for our meetings and just general dialogue with other members and officers. But the next one down on the left-hand side here, Teams, are dedicated channels for either specific projects, specific groups, things like that. So you'll all use this for your political groups, probably accessing things like that. If you're members of specific committees, you'll have access to things. So we've gone down and once we add all the members in, you'll see a channel there that says MCC, all councillors. And then just within that is a homepage really that'll direct you to all the different spaces that we think you might want access to. So the first bit you'll see is, have you got a question? Ask a chatbot. So if you're on a Saturday or a Sunday and officers aren't around, but you're trying to access something, we've started to build you a chatbot so you can ask a question and we'll try and get it to return the answer to you quickly. It's not a council-wide one. This is a member-specific only thing. So we're not trying to make it populated with too much info that you end up getting lost. We're just trying to keep it specific for you. I'll show you an example of how that works in a second. You've got a quick link to the My Monmouthshire app, so it's all nice and easy. So again, the thinking behind moving to Teams is lots of you have it on your phones now, and you can only access the intranet through your Surface Pro. Now you can go to this, you can go to the Teams, and you can access it all on your phone.
John, can I just say something? I rather annoyingly have a Xiaomi telephone. I can't seem to do anything. Am I going to have to give up being an independent and go for would Samsung work?
Yeah, they were. I think Councillor Watts is in the same boat that he's got the same device, and yeah, it's an SRS policy. Chinese,
Okay.
it's blocked, so we won't be able to do anything about that, unfortunately.
Right.
So yeah, quick link there to my Monmouthshire. Quick links to the mapping tools. I don't know about you, but I use those a lot, and I'd recommend you have a good play with them if you're not using those already. A quick overview. Ooh, here we go. Scrolling too far. Quick overview of what meetings are coming up. And I think at the last meeting, Councillor Strong, you mentioned about how can we access the council constitution easier. So I just put a quick link in there as an example, so you can always go and find that. Links to the intranet for your exempt papers, the councillor pages, the calendar, and the ModGov app for anybody who's not using that yet. Again, if you have a play with it and you find that you want more links in there, just let me know and we'll populate all this to best suit you, really. Help and guidance. So there's a whole host in here of guidance, whether that's our own internal guidance, WLGA guidance, Welsh Government guidance, anything like that. It could be to do with specific things like safeguarding. It could be to do with handling social media in your roles as councillors. It's a big pot of resources that you can just have a look through and find anything. And again, we'll just keep populating that with things as they come in, but you might find some of that information useful. One thing that does keep cropping up and has done for a long time is wanting to see an organizational chart of what's going on. So we've got that. It's still being worked on, really. It's only as good, obviously, as the data that's put into it. And it's still evolving, still got some work to do, but as a general overview, it's probably the best start we've had for a long time in terms of you being able to see who reports to who. So again, you can just, if we click on Matt as an example, you'll see everybody who reports into Matt and the services that'll come under him. We can watch a council meeting online, so that's the YouTube area, and then the seminars that we've recorded. So all the induction sessions are all here. Any training sessions that go on, any members seminars on specific topics, they all get populated in there that you can go back through and watch if you've missed something or just want to refresh. Payroll HR, so a quick link to My View. So again, if you're not on your computer but you want to do your expenses on your phone, you can do all that. Payroll information, policies, pension information, and just some general health and safety stuff. So that's an overview of the page. I try to break it down, I think, into chunks and make it quick for you to drill down into the different bits you want to go into without putting too much on a homepage, if you like. And then if I just come back to the chat bot. So again, like we said, that's just advice for you to get help on something that you're not sure on, or you want a quick answer to, particularly if we're not around. So you can go to the channel, click on the chat bot, it'll pop up that, you just click open. Essentially this opens as just another chat. You should have, when you go into it, a welcome message. Because I've used it before, I don't. But if, say, I just wanted some more information on expenses, you can put that in. Are you looking for My View? And it'll come up, you say yes. And it gives you the link straight into My View. Other things are you looking for agendas? It didn't do that earlier on, but it should do. It should again give you the link. Are you looking for the council calendar? And the agendas will come up. The good thing with this is in the background, we can monitor it. So if you get lost or if it doesn't give you the answer to something you're looking for, we can go back through and populate that. We can see what's going on in the background. So if you get stuck at a point, doesn't give you the answer you want, we can put that answer in. So the next time someone else searches for it, the answer will be there. So again, it's going to be one of those tools that, bear with it, it'll get better over time. But hopefully, particularly if we look ahead to 4 years down the line at the next new lot of councillors coming in, by the time we get to that point, that's probably a really handy tool for them to use on day one and what am I looking for and go from there. So in a nutshell, that's it. So any general comments, feedback, anything obvious you think I'm missing, feel free to let me know. I'll do another one quickly because it just leads on, just while I'm sharing my screen, it leads on to the next conversation on area forums. And this is another one we've built that will be rolling out to the Sevenside area soon. The good thing with this is we can bring in, doing it this way, we can bring in people who aren't part of Monmouthshire, so local community groups who want to sit on the, be part of an area forum or whatever. They can have access to just this channel and all the information relating to the committee without anything too technical. And again, it's looking fairly similar. We've got the dates of the meetings that are coming up, actions and forward work items, the agendas and the terms of reference for the meetings. And because we're no longer minuting area forums, mostly because they're not a decision-making body. So we were looking to just record the outcomes of the discussions and then make sure the actions are followed up after the meeting to close the loop. We've designed this little area so anybody who's a member of the committee can go in and add a forward plan item to an agenda. So anything they want to talk about in that group, they can add there. And then the actions that come out will all be logged here. So we can see, you can see the actions that are outstanding, the actions that have been closed. You can see them in the list, etc. You can see all that information. But just while I was sharing my screen, I thought I'd want to give you an overview of that to see how we do it, because that's what we spoke about at Sevenside. And for any other area forums that we look to develop, we probably do. Over to you. Have I missed anything? Is there anything I need to?
So when you're going live on this, are you going to be meeting with this committee for fortnight and see any teething problems and to get ideas of what
Yeah,
might
yeah,
be
I think
added, taken away?
we can share that after the meeting with members of the committee, give them a couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
depending on what feedback we get, then we'll look to open it up to all members
It's
later
quite
on.
exciting, doesn't it? Even for me, you're really very computer literate.
I think it's really good, Chair, and one of the most frequent questions, I don't know if it's common amongst colleagues in the other groups as well, but is who do I contact?
Yeah.
In which department do they sit? And if you come at it from the point of view of trying to figure it out backwards, it's a long-winded way. So the ability to be able to get into, the general area you're talking about, highways or maintenance, whatever it might be, or social services, that's good. And I think that's really helpful.
Yeah.
I think we should make sure though that there's a warning, whatever way we express this, Chair, that as councillors, we shouldn't be contacting officers during the weekend or during the evenings, other than in specific emergencies. Because, if we see this as a way into, well, we're looking to get something done, that's not part of their normal terms. So I think we just need to be aware of that and make sure that we don't forget it, when we're kind of going in and say, all right, it's Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock, I'll just, contact and speak to that person.
Conversely for me, so I work at the beginning of the week and then tend to do my council work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I go to work on the Monday and everything I was doing on the Saturday and Sunday sort of evaporates. So being able to lodge it somewhere
Yeah.
would be fantastic without any expectation of, it being immediately responded to. So I think that's really helpful. My question is, I think this is great. This is like a sort of one-stop shop, handy one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And the more, in terms of that, who do I contact? I mean, in reality, the chatbot and having a sort of antennae for words like drains and parking and neighbour dispute or would be it's going to be the bit where I'm going to go on a Saturday. Oh God! And that's when you pick up those sort of community resident sort of issues. And we'll all have this dog poo bins. We can. They would be sort of predictable, I guess, or that would build up, and that would be fantastic. The question I was going to ask was, it'll be as good as it is maintained, and I'm hoping that officers will be able to not do something in order to invest in this. Is this going to add a burden onto?
There's going to be. It's a mix. really. It's part of a transition as well, isn't it? Like I said, if we're looking ahead to next year's election, what support could we have offered to new councillors this time? That could save us a lot of time further down the line once we've actually populated and set the system up. And it's digital as well. It's the way we should be going. It's letting you have access to information outside of office hours, like we said. So if you can put something in like dog poo, this is the email address you need to contact. Done. You can send your email off or give it to a resident, and away we go. It's a quicker way of solving everything. So it's not going to be too intensive. The intensive bit is done. We've set it up. The rest is monitoring and just constantly updating, and we'll look to do that going forward. So again, you'll probably get a lot of returns at the start because it is quite specific. People call the same thing lots of different things, and the word you use, it might not pick up. And there'll be lots of us doing that in the background to just make sure we're channeling things in the right way and putting it in the right pot. But bear with us, and we'll keep plugging away at it to get it as good as it can be.
And I think it sounds great. Sorry,
Good.
can I just,
Yeah.
next supplementary, I guess it would be good to have an update on this in a month or two's time,
Right.
so that we can keep it rolling,
Yeah.
and also keep us and anyone else who it eventually goes out to motivated to keep on using it, even if it's a bit clunky to start with. So I think the more we come back to it, the more we'll be motivated.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah, perhaps we put it as just a little standing item on the agenda for the next couple of years to just review it going
Well,
forward.
thank you for the work being done. on it. Thank you. It's a brilliant tool. Yeah.
Can I just ask, connected to this development, which is really welcome. I just wondered if we've got on our agenda, looking ahead, an exploration of how AI might actually be of value or not within the council, and whatever risks or benefits that might attach to that. And might be something, Chair, that we also want to come back to, rather than just have that sort of happening out there. And at a certain stage, we kind of reach out and take it because whatever Microsoft builds it in, or one of the other main platforms built it in, and just understanding AI, because I'm sure not only we, but colleagues around the council, but also staff, residents will be thinking, well, in what way does this potentially affect us beneficially or detrimentally?
Yeah.
So it would be good, I think, to have that in the forward plan.
Yeah, and to be honest, that the chatbot we built will be obsolete in 2 months' time,
Yeah.
if I'm honest, because they're already exploring the AI element of the chatbot within Microsoft.
Yeah.
That can automatically update, say, from the searches you put in and the closed loops, and say, well, is this what you're looking for? Yeah, bang. And it's doing it for us. So we're already exploring those in the background, but yeah, it's a fast moving world, the AI at the minute, and I think we need to know what the controls are going to be on it moving forward, not just from us as users, but how are SRS going to let us tap into that data, and then the impact it's going to have on councillors in their roles, residents, things like that. The other thing, we're always exploring is how can we automate some of the minutes, say, coming out of meetings, because the voice detection is already there. It's just formatting it and using it in a better way that we can manipulate it.
And also social care assessments, for our social workers out in the field, if they're able to simply, rather than writing lengthy documents, that they're able to simply put it straight out in a voice reader. There are existing bits of software out there. I think one's called Rabbit, but it's just these things can be made significantly easier and saving a lot of time, for that kind of thing. So it's really to be welcomed. Yeah.
And this Teams channel now is more the way the authority's moving, I think, in terms of things like that. So we know that the social care team are using a Teams form to collect all the information they need from properties when they're doing visits, whereas they would have had to have filled in that piece of paper, wait until they were next in the office to give it to someone to check, sign off, and then move it further down the line. It's on their phone. They fill in that form while they're at the property. As soon as they've done it, it pings it off to whoever it needs to go to, and it's moving that way. We're building another one for the forward work program, and automating that element. we just got limited resources within the council at the minute on the knowledge, and if we get stuck, who do we go to? We're having fun exploring, and hopefully the benefit will move.
Well, there might be a WLGA approach to that, taken more widely across, you know, across certainly South Wales. There might be a local government association approach to that.
Yeah.
I just, while we're on this digital, Chair, if I may, that other work that I'm involved in is in cyber, and cyber potential for cyber attacks is a really very, very real one. And I know we've all probably had some, you know, training on how to, you know, protect ourselves. There a lot of councillors use a lot of Facebook, a lot of Twitter, a lot of WhatsApp, and it seems to me an awful lot of information is loaded into quite a lot of the pages of some councillors are very active in some of those domains, and that includes, you know, connections with community council groups and groups out in residents. It creates the potential for very simple cyber attacks to connect with somebody, a resident or a community group, saying, you know, it's Tudor here. Could you just contact this number because I need to, you know, I'm not sure we're as alive to the risks of cyber as the threat that cyber presents, and minute by minute, you know, there are more than 24,000 attacks a day, and you know, they're not all coming after all of us but they're sweeping them up in the dark web.
Yeah.
And it's something I think councillors and we need to just be aware that we potentially aren't spilling out access to ourselves, our families, our community groups by trying to do best job we possibly can as community-based county councillors. You know, it's just a big concern about that while we're on this digital area.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alistair.
It's a fair point. I think I'd probably my response to that would be more that it's why we're looking to embed it more within the Microsoft platform. It's where the knowledge and the sector leading experience is. So we're not relying on us within a team to build something and hope that that's going to be secure. We're all tapping into this. We're not the only authority. There's channels there to support us where we might have knowledge gaps in doing anything. But I take your point around that wider issue as well.
May I just ask a
Yeah, and then I'll bring in Ahmed. I have seen your hand, Ahmed. Just a second, please. Yes, Rachel.
It's actually about the sort of platform that you're using. Is it, you know, obviously you're saying it's Microsoft, and Alistair's questions have touched on some of the points I wanted to know. But is it specifically for local authorities? You know, how did you come to use this and feel that this was the right platform?
It's just a functionality within Teams.
Okay.
The main driver behind it is the accessibility. That, like I say, at the minute everything sits on the intranet, but you can only access it through your Surface Pro. And if you're out at the site somewhere, you'd be much handier having that on that phone to just do a quick search or ask a question. But again, all that sits within our technology framework. So it's not something we've picked and built ourselves outside of the scope of the SRS frame. It's all within it. So the security that we've got for everything within Teams is sat behind all that as well.
Great.
Ahmed, have you gone? Are you there?
He's just gone offline, isn't he?
Huh?
He went offline 2 minutes ago.
Oh, did you?
He never went down. Yeah,
Laura and Louise, you're quite happy with so far, so good? Yeah, thank you very much. Okay,
So yeah, Chair, we'll roll that out to all the members of this committee, and then I think depending on the speed of feedback we get in and any issues we come across, then we'll set a date to roll it out to all members at some point. And but feel free to just drop me an email with anything you think I'm missing or anything we can do to make it
thanks
better.
very much. Very interesting.
Very good.
Particularly to be able to use it at the weekends, and I think I get an email and think, oh, I hope they don't open this till Monday morning, you know. But yeah, okay. Thank you very much, John, for all the work that you've done. Very good. Armand, oh, sorry, we lost you for a minute.
No, it was the technology let me down. It literally, it didn't, I don't know whatever happened here. I've changed the charger on it. I blame John again. The Alistair's point though is, you know, there has to be, so I do worry about AI, and, you know, there's been a lot of publicity about some of the leading people in AI being very concerned. You know, I'm not sure if I mean, I get Alistair gets it because of his local authority background. You know, Gloucestershire City Council got absolutely wiped out. It's not a week that goes by or a day goes by where we're not being attacked by the Russians or the Chinese, and it, you know, we're all vulnerable to it, and we live in this kind of I guess what I'm trying to say is we live in this little cocoon where we think that because we're part of Microsoft, that we're not susceptible for it. And I'm not entirely sure we have any, you know, SRS, when you talk to SRS, whether whilst they are reactive, I'd like to think that we'd be a little bit more proactive in trying to understand what we're dealing with. And my other issue with it is it shouldn't be there to effectively, although it's a lovely notion, maybe to the chief executive, replace the councillor's role when responding to complaints. We're there to be the face of the council. We're there to kind of deal with those complaints that are difficult, whether it's dog poo, housing, litter, whatever it is. You know, that our skills are built around good communication as human beings, not through what we can do with the internet, Chair.
Thank you. Well, as far as AI is concerned, all I can think of is cows. But I just
Like you
educate
do,
myself a
right?
little more, I think.
And there you go. There you make my case. Thank you.
Thanks, Armand. Thank you for all the contributions anyway, right, John? Thank you very much again. We're moving on to area committees. This is something that my local community council have been keen to resurrect for some time because they thought it was an important forum for community councillors to meet county councillors and other people that are dealing with issues that they like to know more about. And in what used to be called the what did it used to be called? The area committee there.
Lower Y.
That's right, Armin, you've got it.
I remember you bumped me off the chair a couple of times, didn't you?
Would I do that to you?
Yeah, you would.
Anyway, they thought it was something that would be worth resurrecting, to particularly have certain topics, you know, for instance, High Beach Roundabout or something like that, and to really thrash it out, you know, on a different basis. I understand that we wouldn't have any officers to be able to take minutes, that it would just, as you said, we'd be able to just bring out the points from the meeting and bring them forward to the next one. But is it, I don't know if it's something that Louise and Armand, you were involved with the area committee. I mean, have you got any views on that, really?
Yeah, my experience of it was a talking shop. It's not the town council, and many of us are town councillors anyway. I think, you know, it's difficult enough trying to get existing councillors who sit on both to understand they've got different roles without merging the two together. I mean, I'm all for more fluid communication, but it's a talking shop. It makes no. My personal view is it's, you know, whilst it's good to communicate and understand local issues. I mean, all knowledge is power and all the rest of it. I just think it's a bit of a waste of time, a waste of a couple of hours. I mean, it had a bit more bite to it when obviously money was being dished out. There was specific budgets lined up for whatever projects that we thought that were worthy, but that all dried up. And frankly, in the 18 years I was a Thornwall councillor, albeit that I had the third most deprived ward, that committee never gave me a penny, Chair. So my view is it's a negative.
Okay, thank you for that. Louise, do you have any views? Sorry, and then I'll go to Alistair and then you, Peter. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think one of the difficulties we had is that basically we got a section of councillors who were regular attenders, but we also had problems with you know, the officer attendance, really, and, you know, getting officers to commit to coming to the meetings. And I think the problem is that the meetings were didn't have the status of a general committee. And I think this is one of the problems of them, that they weren't being taken seriously by all. I mean, I attended all the area committees that I could. I don't think I missed many of them, but I think the problem is that I didn't think that they were being taken seriously enough. But I think the issues that they raised were important. You know, for example, we did get the health board to come along to talk about the local Chepstow Hospital, for example, which was useful, and we got the director of operations to come along as well. So it was useful for local issues, but it wasn't. I don't think that the council, you know, took it seriously enough, and I think that the previous chairman of our local area committee, I mean, he even paid out for the refreshments for people out of his own pocket, you know, so that people could be welcomed and have a cup of coffee there,
Yeah,
which I
that
don't
wasn't me,
think
Chair.
is. Sorry.
So that wasn't me, just for clarity.
Yeah.
Nobody thought
No.
it was ours.
Sorry, it was Councillor David Dovey who
Bless him.
paid for coffees out of his own you know, because I think something like that really ought to be a minimal thing like that ought to be paid for by the council, you know, because I don't think it's right that he should have had to have done that, and he did that mainly to welcome local people to come along, I think. So I think basically it wasn't given a budget for councillors, and it wasn't even given a proper budget, you know, to allow even people who attended to have a coffee. So I don't think it was treated seriously properly by the council itself, and I think that was the main problem with it.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you. My main pointer about this is really, I just would like to include town and community council a little bit more in our deliberations, because I don't know, when you go to community council meetings, it's basically, oh, they ignore us anyway, they don't think they know us, and that really hurts me, because I think we do take notice, and there we are, there's the attitude it is, and I really would like to wipe that out, to think that, oh, they are taking notice of us after all. I mean, they understand why and how we take notice. Thank you. Ms. Alistair.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. And whilst I absolutely take that point, I think that's just about working with the community council to demonstrate the value of the relationship. I'm not sure that those who attend community councils would feel that they were being particularly noticed, that they had meetings that were just talk shops that didn't lead to anything. I think over a period of time, they'd just say, well, what was that all about? You know, I'm not sure it would add particular value. One of the things, and Louise was just to build on one of the points that Louise was making, it doesn't mean, however, that there isn't real value in having what I might call a workshop, but it might be a presentation, Louise, rather than a workshop, with some of our key partners. So be it, you know, NHS, be it public health, be it police, in order to, or others, Peter, there may well be obviously other groups, we're just picking out three fairly obvious ones, to be able to say all councillors, you know, here's an update, and we might then involve community councils in that too, but an update on, you know, policing, not just within our community council area or in our ward, but actually what's happening more generally. And there's some significant issues and questions, I think, about, for example, policing in Gwent, that, you know, I certainly don't feel we're necessarily having the opportunity to have that discussion about, for them to have that discussion about. But equally, the NHS, clearly there are some really important questions there at a Gwent level, but a Monmouthshire council level. Where are we having those discussions? And it may well be that we should be looking to, it might be one a quarter kind of thing, but to invite some of those key partners into here or wherever would be appropriate, and it might be an opportunity to say to community councils if they have any attendees that they'd like to come along to those, but to actually have presentation and discussion or workshop around what are, you know, public health, hugely important. What have we learned out of the pandemic to prepare for the next pandemic as a council? What is there nothing we can do, or is there something we can do that is sensible? So things like that, I would strongly welcome that opportunity in it, but I don't think area committees would necessarily be the right approach.
Thank you. Could I have Peter then, please, and then Armand coming back, please?
Yeah, just say, the Seven Side Area Committee
Yeah.
is
I'll
already
ask you
up,
about that,
up and
yeah.
running again.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, we've just had the one meeting so far. I mean, I found it very useful, and I thank Nicola for coming along and taking the notes from that meeting. I mean, it is a talking shop, but talking is sometimes useful. You know, we did invite people from the various community councils. Our next meeting, we're going to have report backs from each of the separate communities on projects going on within their own communities, so that we're all well informed on that. Mark Hand came along to talk about transport issues. Who else did we have? I can't remember. I can't remember now, but we had various people coming along dealing with issues, and you know, there are things that affect Sevenside in a different way. I mean, for example, our transport links tend to run east to west along the Sevenside. Our school catchment area is a sort of Sevenside catchment area for the secondary school. So these things are useful to have. It keeps us well informed. You know, the Sevenside councillors don't normally get a chance to talk over specific Sevenside issues in main council meetings or on committees or whatever. So it's a useful forum just to, you know, think about what we need to do, make future plans, and then act, if you like, as a lobby on the main council.
Yeah. Thank you. Armand, did you want to?
Yeah, no, sorry, I do apologise. It was just, again, it was on Alice's point about public health, good points, and then about the police. You know, on the select committee I sit on, we look at everything outside. Those two issues have come out 3 or 4 times. We've scrutinised the health board twice. I think the police have been in a number of times, and when we're not happy with the information, which we usually aren't, we ask them to come back again with it. But we're happy to, you know, accept guests if there's anybody from any particular town council, or if there's any councillor that wants to come and ask specific questions to do with any of those issues external to the local authority that we are effectively in partnership with, they're more than welcome. But there is that opportunity, and I'd be more than happy to talk with Alistair in you know, wider, you know, in the joint chairman meetings about how we can expand on that to broaden it out to, you know, enfranchise people.
Okay, yes, I did notice that. Thank you. Right, thank you. Tudor.
Yeah, thanks. The other thing I would say, and I'm not sort of pouring cold water on area committees, but my experience in the last council until COVID hit was that they weren't terribly effective. Particularly, I can understand the Sevenside where it's a more sort of cohesive area, but if you take Abergavenny with a broad rural suite, including, you know, Alistair's ward, which I actually live in, but very few community councillors were attended. And really, it was so difficult in different village halls, and then trying to set up the IT, you know, have a hybrid meeting.
Yeah.
And really, the output was I found quite poor, you know. So I can understand the Sevenside. It's a cohesive, definite area, big, broad, rural area, including Abergavenny, I know as a town, but personally, I didn't find them particularly effective. And if you're not going to have much servicing with offices and just action points, it's going to probably be even less so. So I can't say I fully sort of in support of it. Thanks.
Okay, Judah, thank you. Rachel.
Yes, well, I sort of having some experience of the Wye Valleys Villages group. It is, you know, Councillor Peter Strong's point of talking is good. It is good. However, what's happened with the Wye Valley Villages is some signs have been erected, which nearly everyone hates, and it was done by committee. And it's, you know, we have to be careful not to impose things on the local population, and how we engage the residents as well as, you know, the community councils is, you know, is a difficult one. But you know, the sign, I'm pointing out signs because it, you know, it just has completely nullified any positive thought on this committee. And there is some good to be had, but you know, we've got to be careful how we do it.
Thank you. Thank you. Sue.
So there's a question as much as anything else. The area committees have no sort of constitutional status, is that right?
No.
Shall I let Matt come in if Matt wants to
Matt, yeah.
do the constitution bit on it?
Good, Matt.
Everyone on the committee thought we were getting away without reference to the constitution then. So area committees were created in the Local Government Act 2000, and they give executives the ability to establish area committees with a defined geographical area, and they give executives the ability to delegate money or power, well, decision-making powers predominantly to that committee. I noticed when I was reviewing the constitution this year that our representation within the constitution wasn't entirely correct, because they were kind of in there as something that council would determine, which isn't really right. It should be for the cabinet to determine them. And so as you will have seen in the paper that came to council last year, I've made the change, so area committees are now correctly explained in there, i.e. it's for cabinet to establish them. But in order to maintain that local flexibility to set up these things, as we've done with Sevenside recently, for example, I've just introduced something called area forums, which, funny old thing, look a lot like area committees as they used to. So constitutionally, we don't have any area committees because cabinet haven't established any, and never have done in the last 23 years. An area forum is constitutionally enabled, but it is a matter for the people within that area to decide whether they wish to stand it up. And I suppose, just so speaking to some of those points that were made, and Councillor Watson, Councillor Brown both spoke about, you know, true effectiveness comes from that kind of delegation of powers and what have you. So that hopefully explains where that would come from. It would be cabinet powers rather than council powers that would be delegated. And in terms of what Councillor Neil said, you know, that more bespoke engagement, well, I'd just remind you, of course, we see that because we had we had 5-6 face-to-face geographically defined budget engagement meetings, for example, that took place back in January. I know one subject that will require some sort of kind of geographically defined engagement would be the LDP. So I'd expect those to stand up. And of course, there's always the ability for community councils to come together in clusters. And we have other mechanisms as well, like, you know, businesses come together in the Business Resilience Forum. So I wouldn't want councillors to feel that they're constrained by how this is defined anyway. There's a lot of different ways of dealing with how to do engagement and come together in that kind of geographically relevant way that doesn't necessarily require a cabinet to make a specific delegation. So I hope that helps.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt. By your wish, what would you like to do, member? Would you like to put this on the agenda again, or talk to your communities, or perhaps you can visit Sevenside to see how they? Yeah.
I was just going to say, just building on Matt's point there, that I thought that was a really valuable point, that we don't need a formality of delegation in order to be able to say to community councils, look, if you want us to organise bringing 2-3 together at the same time around a particular agenda, then, you know, we as councillors might take that away and look to do that. So, you know, which is potentially a way.
We just leave it to the individual member.
But it would be a way to say to community councils that, you know, we're taking this matter, you know, appropriately, and if there is at any point an opportunity to do that, then we'll look to take it forward. That might be a good way forward.
Yeah. Do you all agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, just picking up from that, I think what's coming out of it is, rather than cabinet say you will have area committees, is seeing if there's a call for it from below, individual groups of councillors or whatever.
That's exactly.
And it's only then that they will work, if there's a genuine desire to have them. Yeah.
At least we know what we can do now.
Yes, and I think there's a sort of there's a committee, you know, which would then say our next meeting will be on, or there are events or workshops.
Yeah.
So I'm inclined, because it's working really well in one place, doesn't necessarily mean we need to replicate it everywhere else and just give ourselves a rod for our own backs. But if we know and disseminate the idea that it's working in centre, that's great, you know, why would you want to stop that? It's engaged people and we get that communication, fantastic. If we wanted to have an event or a cluster or then let's do that. And I think the point made about the LDP is a good one. That's going to definitely want to engage people on a local basis.
Yeah, thank you, Sue. Have you anything to say, John? We can move on to the what happened at the last couple of meetings ago. You suggested, or it was suggested, that as a group we could go around the county, and I think this was sort of forgotten about. But I'd like to sort of
Completely my
might be
fault.
something that we can talk about now.
Completely my fault. Went
No,
off
not
the radar.
at all,
I
no.
booked the bus and I was about as far as I got. I think I will be gone.
Was this empty bus going on?
Yeah, I think so. It's that it makes the wheels.
People put a new bus service. but it's-
But yeah, no, my fault. I was gonna say it's lovely weather to be able to do it. It's just back it in November. Leave it with me. We'll get it raised again. I think I shared the list of venues with everybody on the committee and we agreed the plan. I just need to do my job properly.
If we can do it by industrial, John. If we could do it probably before the end of the year, you know, probably in the autumn time, perhaps.
Yeah.
September.
Yeah.
Time when we've still got a bit of weather and
Yeah.
evenings and stuff.
Yes.
Good idea.
And perhaps we can go out for a day and
After the August break.
it'll be really useful. Do you all agree?
Yeah.
Good idea.
Very much so.
And perhaps we can have a few dates.
Yeah.
And then we can all agree before the next meeting, perhaps even.
Yeah, leave it with me and
That'd be good,
I'll
John.
put something together.
Yeah, okay, thank you very
I will.
much. Thank you. Right, if there's anything else any member wishes to raise?
Is the weather on the agenda?
Really, yeah. Okay, the date of the next meeting is on the 9th of October, I believe. Okay, thank you very much for attending. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Armand, Laura, Matt and Louise, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, that's-
Safe journey home.
They are home.
Be careful switching off.
Yeah, thank you. Right. Okay. Okay, we survived.